The Past Loves. Chapter 1, The Letter Without a Name. Tom Wilson lived alone in a quiet village. He was 65 years old with gray hair and tired eyes. His home was small, but full of old things. There were pictures of his wife on the wall. Her name was Mary. She had passed away 5 years ago. Tom had loved her deeply after she died. Something inside Tom also became quiet. He did not laugh much after that. His children lived in the city. They called sometimes, but they were busy with their lives. Tom understood. He didn't complain. He just spent his days simply. He woke up early, made tea, and sat on his wooden chair. He watched the forest from his window. The forest was his old friend. He had worked there for 35 years. As a forest officer, he knew every sound of the trees, every smell of the leaves, and every turn in the path. He still walked in the forest, sometimes. It gave him peace. The trees never changed. They stayed with him, even when people didn't. That morning was cold. The wind was strong, and the sky was gray. Tom wore his old sweater and walked to the door. He wanted to bring in some wood for the fire. But something strange was there on the ground. A letter, just one small, folded paper. There was no name, no stamp, nothing written outside. Tom looked left and right. No one was there. He bent down slowly and picked it up. The paper felt dry and soft, like it was written long ago. He opened it with care. The handwriting was rough but strong. The message said, "Dear Tom, do you remember the old forest cave? We need your help. Come soon. Time is short. Don't tell anyone." Tom froze. He sat down on the step and read it again. The cave. That word shook him. He had not thought about that place in many years. It was deep inside the forest, past the tall rocks, near the quiet waterfall. Long ago, he had gone there. Something had happened. Something that still lived inside his mind like a dream. He had never told anyone, not even Mary. He had locked that memory far away, but now, someone had unlocked it. Who sent this letter, and why now? Tom felt the wind get colder. He held the paper tight. His hands were shaking. His eyes were full of questions. But there were no answers, only silence. He stood up and looked toward the forest. The trees were still, but he felt they were watching him. The air felt different. The quiet was heavy, like before a storm. He walked back inside and made tea. He sat in his chair, but he couldn't relax. The letter was on the table. His eyes kept going to it. He knew he could throw it away and forget, but he also knew he would not. Something inside him had already decided. He could feel it in his chest. The forest was calling him again. Not just for a walk, not for peace, but for something else. Something lost, something waiting. He didn't know what he would find, but he knew he had to go. That evening, he packed a small bag, a torch, a jacket, a bottle of water, and a picture of Mary. He always took her picture on long walks. Before sleeping, he opened the window. The wine touched his face. The trees stood tall in the moonlight. They were whispering to him. He couldn't hear the words, but he understood the feeling. Something had started, something old. Tomorrow, he would go back into the forest, back to the cave, back to a story that had never truly ended. Chapter 2, The Woman in the Photograph. It will be continued. Please listen soon. Thanks.
The Past Love. Chapter 2, The Woman in the Photograph. Tom did not sleep well that night. He kept waking up and looking at the clock. The wind outside was strong. The trees made soft, sad sounds in the dark. At midnight, he turned on the lamp and looked at the letter again.
Đêm đó, Tom không ngủ ngon. Ông cứ thức giấc và nhìn đồng hồ. Gió bên ngoài mạnh, cây cối phát ra những âm thanh nhẹ nhàng buồn bã trong bóng tối. Đến nửa đêm, ông bật đèn và nhìn lại lá thư.
Then his eyes moved to a small photo beside the lamp. It was an old picture of Mary, smiling in the sunlight. But there was another photo behind it, half hidden, old, and bent at the corner. It was a photo he had not touched in years.
Sau đó, mắt ông chuyển sang một bức ảnh nhỏ bên cạnh chiếc đèn. Đó là một bức ảnh cũ của Mary đang mỉm cười dưới ánh nắng mặt trời. Nhưng có một bức ảnh khác đằng sau nó, bị che mất một nửa, cũ và cong ở góc. Đó là một bức ảnh mà ông đã không chạm vào trong nhiều năm.
Carefully, he took it out. It was not Mary, it was someone else. A young woman, with long dark hair and quiet eyes. Her name was Lena.
Ông cẩn thận lấy nó ra. Đó không phải là Mary, nó là một người khác, một phụ nữ trẻ với mái tóc đen dài và đôi mắt tĩnh lặng. Tên cô ấy là Lena.
Lena had been his friend many years ago, long before he met Mary. She was not from the village. She had come as a student, studying forest plants. She used to walk in the woods every morning, with her notebook and her smile.
Lena đã là bạn của ông từ nhiều năm trước, rất lâu trước khi ông gặp Mary. Cô ấy không phải là người làm. Cô ấy đến đây với tư cách là một sinh viên, nghiên cứu về thực vật rừng. Cô ấy thường đi bộ trong rừng mỗi sáng với cuốn sổ tay và nụ cười của mình.
Tom had met her during one of his rounds. They talked about trees, about birds, about the sound of rain. One day turned into many. They laughed together, shared lunch under the tall trees, and sat near the waterfall.
Tom đã gặp cô trong một lần đi tuần. Họ nói về cây cối, về chim chóc, về tiếng mưa. Một ngày trôi qua thành nhiều ngày. Họ cùng nhau cười, cùng nhau ăn trưa dưới những tàn cây cao và ngồi gần thác nước.
Lena had dreams. She wanted to write a book about the forest. Tom liked her spirit. She was brave, kind, and full of life. He didn't say it, but he had loved her. But something happened.
Vina có những giấc mơ. Cô ấy muốn viết một cuốn sách về khu rừng. Tom thích tinh thần của cô ấy. Cô ấy dũng cảm, tốt bụng và tràn đầy sức sống. Ông không nói ra, nhưng ông đã yêu cô ấy. Nhưng có chuyện gì đó đã xảy ra.
One day, Lena went into the forest alone to study some rare flowers. A big storm came that afternoon. She didn't return. People searched for days. Tom searched the longest. He walked every path, called her name, and went to the old forest cave.
Một ngày nọ, Lina đi vào rừng một mình để nghiên cứu một số loài hoa quý hiếm. Một cơn bão lớn ập đến vào buổi chiều hôm đó. Cô ấy không trở về. Mọi người tìm kiếm trong nhiều ngày. Tom tìm kiếm lâu nhất. Ông đi bộ trên mọi con đường, gọi tên cô ấy và đi đến hang động rừng cũ.
He remembered seeing a piece of her notebook near the cave's entrance. But the inside was dark and deep, too dangerous. He had waited for help, but no one came. After that, she was never seen again. People said she got lost. Some said she fell into the deep rocks. Tom had never spoken about it. He had carried that pain like a shadow for years. Later, he met Mary and started a new life, but Lena's memory stayed hidden in his heart. Now, after all these years, the cave was calling him again, and the letter said, "We need your help." Not someone, it said we. Was Lena still alive? Or was it someone else connected to that day? The next morning, Tom packed more things. He took a rope, an old walking stick, and a small camera. He also packed both photographs, Mary's and Lena's. He wore his forest boots and green jacket. Before leaving, he looked at the house once more. It felt like he was going far away, not just into the forest, but into the past. The path was foggy. The trees looked different in the early light. Tom walked slowly. Each step was quiet. Birds flew above him, and dry leaves made soft sounds under his boots. The forest was alive, but it felt like it was watching him. After an hour, he reached the old stone wall. Behind that wall, the cave path started. It was a narrow path with sharp turns. He had not walked it in 20 years, but his feet remembered. His heart remembered. He walked deeper and deeper. Suddenly, he stopped. There was a mark on the tree. A small red cloth tied to a branch. His heart jumped.